jury in from the jury room, obtain the verdict, paperwork, and that's me. Okay? Thank you. Please be seated. Court will come to order in the matter of Commonwealth versus Barbour, 15 CR. The jury has deliberated in this case and has indicated that it has reached a verdict. Before I get to the verdict, I want to say that this jury has offered commendable service in both in doing its duty and in remaining attentive at all times, as far as I can tell, to everything that we asked this jury to do. This has been a difficult process for everybody, and no less so for these individuals. And ladies and gentlemen, I commend you and thank you on behalf of everybody involved in the process for your service. I also want to remind everyone that we are not going to allow any outward demonstrations, regardless of the verdict, regardless of whether you are in favor of or against it. Keep that to yourselves until everything is finished and you leave the courtroom. If I hear any outbursts, and I've got several gentlemen standing back there that I believe would help me out if I needed it, but if I hear any outbursts, I'm just going to ask you to escort whoever it is out of the courtroom until we get finished. Ms. Flood, you are the foreperson of the jury. Form verdict, count one. We the jury find the defendant guilty of reckless homicide under instruction number 7, dated December 15, 2016, signed by Ms. Flood. Ma'am, is this the unanimous verdict of the jury?
It is, Your Honor.
Count 2. We, the jury, find the defendant guilty of tampering with physical evidence, dated December 15, 2016, signed by Ms. Flood. Ms. Flood, is this verdict the unanimous verdict of the jury?
It is, Your Honor.
Count 3. We, the jury, find the defendant guilty of abuse of a corpse, dated December 15, 2016, and signed by Ms. Flood. Ms. Flood, is that the unanimous verdict of the jury?
It is, Your Honor.
Would either party wish to poll the jury?
Yes, Your Honor.
Either party is entitled to have me individually question you just to be sure that even if you did not sign, even though you did not sign, this is your verdict. So, sir, I will start with you. Verdict first action is the guilt or innocence phase, which is obviously what takes the longest, and that's what we just completed. The second fashion is the sentencing phase, and that requires that you hear what the possible penalties are for each offense, and that you make a recommendation about what the penalty should be in the case. It will also give you some information in the context of the sentencing about things like parole eligibility and things like whether a but it, again, involves instructions that I will have to go back here. I've already got them all written up, I just had to know what your verdicts were going to be, so we're separating that out. I'll make a copy for each one of you, and we'll do a little bit like we did before. I will read those instructions to you, and I'll read some other things to you pertaining to parole eligibility and so forth. I have told, I can get all of that done that I need to get done in 10 minutes. So I've told these two, the two attorneys that we're gonna have to take a 10-minute break just to get that done. When we come back, they'll be allowed to put on some information to ask you, depending on which side it is, to ask you for, to recommend the lenient sentence or maybe a sentence towards the top of the guidelines, whichever it may be. So we're gonna need to take about a 10-minute break. I am fine if you all just want to stay where you are, because I know that you broke your coats and things out.
The only person for whom you are going to sentence today is Anthony Barbour. He is the only person charged with the offense and has been found guilty of an offense. You have the opportunity on each of these Class D felonies to pick a penalty between the range of 1 and 5 years in the state penitentiary. 1 and 5 years on the first count of reckless homicide. 1 and 5 years on the second count of tampering with physical evidence. The maximum which you can give him on the abuse of a corpse is 12 months. I merely ask you this, because he has already sat in jail for some 20 months up to this date, that whatever sentence you fix for this defendant is run concurrently. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Gardner?
Ladies and gentlemen, as I told you in my closing statement, I would respect your verdict in this case. I know that you all thought long and hard about this, and the Commonwealth respects it. What I would ask you in this case is, you've heard the proof about the parole eligibility for each offense, and you've also heard the penalty ranges in this case. Lady Mae Wallace was 2 years old when she died. She won't get to experience the rest of her life. And you've made a decision that the defendant is responsible. So I request the board hire, we talked about, consider the low end of the penalty range as well as the top end. And ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I would respectfully request that you sentence him to 5 years on each count, and that you run those 5 years consecutive to each other for a total of 10 years. On your jury instruction forms, under reckless homicide, I would request that you put 5 years as a recommended sentence. On the tampering with physical evidence, I would also request that you enter a verdict of 5 years on that. For the abuse of corpse, I believe also that 12 months would be an appropriate sentence on that charge. And finally, on instruction number 4, I would request in the top line, the right that you'll run the sentences consecutive to each other, that you put a total of the years that you decide. Again, I thank you. I'm going to keep this brief. You've heard the proof in this matter. I believe